Miss Lacey here, and I have some ideas to help out with lefties, those beautiful, beautiful left-handed people. It can be a little tricky because our world is very much designed for righties, and lefties work so hard at a lot of different things, so I've got some ideas to make it a little bit easier. The first one is the way that we turn or orient our paper. So I'm going to turn my camera down here so you can see where I'm working. So I have my paper here on my desk, and normally with righties, we'll keep that paper forward, and a lot of times teachers will even remind kids, hey, keep your paper forward. The other thing we might do, and video can be kind of tricky, this is my right hand, this is my left hand. With right hand, sometimes we'll start to kind of turn our paper a little bit while we're writing. Let's do that with lefties too. Turn your paper so the left corner is pointing up. That way, when you're writing with your left hand, you can see where you're writing and what you're doing without having to look over or under your hand. If we keep it forward like this, it's hard to see what we're writing because my hand is blocking that vision for me. So then I might start to do the lefty hook, the dreaded lefty hook where I'm turning my wrist to make sure that I can see what I'm doing, but that is not a good position for your wrist or muscles to work in. Instead of turning your hand, turn your paper. Another thing I like to do while we're learning that is take a little bit of painter's tape. I like painter's tape because it peels off of the desk really easily. Peel off 2 pieces there and make a corner on your desk that has a 90-degree angle pointing forward. And then you can just tuck your paper right in there. That's how we line it up, and then we're ready to go. I can see what I'm doing. My wrist is in a good neutral position, and I am ready to go. That's my first suggestion. Next thing I hear a lot is spiral notebooks. We get our notebook, we put our label on the front, we open it up, we start to write, and that spiral is digging into my hand. It does not feel good. We can turn it. That helps. It gets that spiral out of the way. Sometimes we just might not like it. There's another really good tip with spiral notebooks. We can take our brand new notebook and we can flip it over. We can put a label on this side. We can draw a picture. We can write our name. We can put pretty hearts, whatever you'd like on this side of the notebook, and this can be the beginning, the front of your notebook. That way, when you open up your notebook, you've got a blank page here. You're ready to start, and the spiral's on the opposite side, just like it is with righties. So then you can write on it that way. Flip that notebook over. Easy trick to modify a notebook. All right. The next thing that I want to share with you is desk position. If you like to have your desks in your classroom in pairs or in groups, or if you're using tables and you have multiple students at a table, think about where are these kids sitting? If you have a righty sitting on one side and a lefty sitting right next to them and they start doing their work together, they're going to start elbowing each other's elbows and bonking together. Flip them so that they each have room to get their elbow out while they're working. Pretty easy solution. Or turn your desk in a different orientation or your tables. Pay attention to where your desks are seated when you are in pairs. Let's see. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was the model position. If you're having students copy something, a lot of times worksheets will have, I'm going to turn my camera again. A lot of times worksheets will have, for example, if we have the alphabet, I'm going to try to write this upside down so you can see it. They might have an example of A, B, C, and you're asking the student to do the word or the letter or whatever that might be next to it. Okay? Can we see that with pencil? I think we can. Okay. So if you're asking a lefty to copy that, and then they come up here and they go to copy it, they can't see your model anymore. So now we can no longer see what we're trying to copy. That adds that extra layer of that visual memory that we are not asking our right-handed students to do. The way to do that is to give a lefty-friendly model. So instead of putting your example here, you could put it here. Leave a space on either side. And that way the paper is accessible for both lefties and righties. A right-handed student could continue to write in this space and see what they're doing. A left-handed student could write it in this space and see what they're doing. Okay, so that's a pretty easy way to do it. Some worksheets and things that we use might already be pre-made, in which case you don't have that option of kind of scooching it over and giving some workspace to the other side there. An easy solution there is just to run off an extra copy. Give the student 2 copies so they can have a copy placed where they can see it, and then they can have a copy that they're writing on. That is an easy solution to make sure that model position when you're asking for copying is accessible for our lefty students. I'm going to go back to that lefty hook I was talking about, which is when left-handed students start to turn that wrist in that undesirable position. Easy solution to that is a slant board. You can purchase a lot of different types of slant boards, or you can use big, thick binders. We've got a lot of extras in closets sitting around that we don't really use so often anymore. Grab one of those. We can use it as a slant board. That way you can set that worksheet, paper, whatever, notebook, whatever you're working on up on top. This helps a lot with right-handed students too. It's just a really good trick to have with wrist positioning, but it definitely helps with left-handed students. You put that up on top, and then your paper will be in a easier to see position, and it will be a lot more uncomfortable and challenging to do that lefty hook, and it will encourage that proper wrist neutral position there while you're working. Let's see, I think I've got 2 more ideas for you that I wanted to share. I'm going to try to show you upside down so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to switch to a pen because I'm a little worried my pencil's not showing up that great in the camera. All right, so I'm going to switch to a pen here. When we are asking right-handed students or teaching right-handed students, especially if we are right-handed ourselves, different strokes when making letters that have a cross, we are crossing in a certain direction. So for example, when a right-handed student is making a letter T, they pull that big line down, they go up to the top, and they cross it. Lefties will naturally want to cross in the opposite direction, and that is okay. So even if we are making, it's hard for me to do upside down. So if we're making, let me think of another one, an E, a capital E, we do big line down, we go left to right, left to right, left to right. A left-handed student may prefer to go big line down, right to left, right to left, right to left. You can see my quality has certainly decreased with my non-dominant hand. And that's okay. We don't have to go the same direction to make those cross strokes when we're learning our letters. It is natural and common for lefties to want to go the opposite direction. Keep that in mind when you're teaching. It is hard for me, clearly my dominant hand is my right hand. It's hard for me to demonstrate that properly with my left hand, but I can verbalize it. So even if I am not very skilled at demonstrating going the opposite direction that is comfortable for me, I can verbalize to my students that when I make a letter T, I do big line down, I cross. When you make a letter T, you might do big line down and cross the other way, and that's okay. So even verbalizing that it is acceptable to do that can be very helpful for students. And the last thing I wanted to show you is because of that tendency of wanting to go and learn right to left because of the ease of seeing it and the ease of moving the hand in that direction, we sometimes will have to explicitly teach that writing from left to right on the page. Sometimes that's as easy as taking a marker or a pencil or whatever you have and putting a little mark on that side, just putting a little dot there. I also like to use smiley face stickers for things like that because I think they're fun. So sometimes I'll take a little smiley face sticker and I'll put it there. So remember, we're starting at the smiley face sticker side. Another thing I like, if you don't want to use up your smiley face stickers, is these card catalog labels or color coding labels. They're just tiny little colorful dots, and those are really helpful too for just giving that starting dot to remember we start on the left side of the page. A lot of times notebooks will already have that marked in there with that dark line, and remember we start here. But if you're working on a worksheet or a blank piece of paper like this, then you might want to add a little dot or an indicator of some sort that we are starting on the left side. All right, I think that is all the ideas that I had to share with you today. Hopefully this is helpful for some of your left-handed students. Thanks.